Hello and welcome to the Wellness Agents. Thriving in a changing world and knowing there is always more to learn is our motto and what we stand for. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Karen. And today's podcast presentation is we're going to be talking and discussing the importance of earthing and grounding and where that fits with keeping the balance in life. Particularly if you're one of those people that when you go to work, you're either not on the ground floor or you are under fluoros and fluoro lighting. You never get to see nature in your work day and you really can become quite disconnected from the day.
From the earth. Yeah, it is. It's a really important aspect. And it comes back to, basics, doesn't it? And when you've been doing it a long time, you take it for granted, but to take your shoes off and get out on the grass or to get on the beach and even swimming in the ocean is a great earthing and grounding activity. Just connecting to
nature
and getting your feet out. But even if you are in a multi-story building, sometimes what I was reading about was you can go down to the basement and if it's a concrete floor that hasn't been sealed, and quite often they're not, then that is grounding. Concrete is conducive for grounding. Those electrons, negative effects from the earth will come through the cement, especially if it's damp. And it quite often is damp down in basements and things. So
like the car park type areas.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Yeah, as long as it's not
Does a reinforcement, does that block grounding?
Well, as long as the cement is, because the reinforcement will go down into the earth, and then the cement, as long as it's not sealed, and if it's got any sealing on it, then it wouldn't work. It's a bit like swimming in a swimming pool. You're not going to get any earthing or grounding if it was a plastic or had a liner in it.
Yeah.
Whereas go in the ocean.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Or the river. Yeah.
The river. Yeah, they say that salty water has a much higher charge, so you get a lot more benefit from the salty seawater than a still lake or a river, but it's still grounding and earthing. It's still good.
Yeah. It just came to mind also with the lakes and rivers, you could be getting runoff from farming, so you could be getting a good dose of toxins as well.
Yeah.
Or the ocean.
That's that, aren't we? Yeah, unfortunately. Same with, so many things. But it's doing what you can, isn't it? And coming back to basics and being intentional about it, I guess, because there's lots of products. There is a book I'll put a link to in the description below. It's this earthing book. And I'll put the link in the description. There's lots of information in there and testimonies and references about how it works and why it works for all sorts of things. So people do credit getting on the earth with helping them recover from, for example, if they've been traveling, if they've been sitting in the car, moving at fast sort of pace, or even like jet lag.
Geopathic stress, yeah.
So getting on the earth. And when you think about animals, when you think about, I've had dogs that if they've been injured or if they get kicked by a cow or run over by, or, knocked by a car and they're still like, they will go to ground. Literally, they go to ground, don't they? They go off and they sit and curl up in the earth and heal.
Yeah.
They've got that wisdom.
Also, really important post-surgery where you've had an anesthetic, because there's anesthetic by its very nature is disconnecting, like you become paralyzed, and it might be that it's temporary, but I notice like within kinesiology there's a sequence that I do on absolutely most people. I'm wearing blue screen glasses, but I don't really like the reflection, so I'll take it off for a bit. But there's a sequence that Charles Krebs put together. Now, Dr. Charles Krebs his thing is all about brain integration is his big thing, and mainly from the perspective of helping kids to learn to read if they're seriously dyslexic or dyspraxic and all the autistic and all those sorts of neurological conditions. But he put together this sequence which involves 7 different double holds of acupressure points. And the first time it was ever done on me when we were being taught it, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I'm doing this on everyone if their arm lets me. And if you do ever have had kinesiology, you'll understand what I mean by if your arm lets me. And of course, most people's arms do let me because we're living. We're in and out of cars. We're up and down lifts. We are, we're busy and quite often distracted and sometimes disconnected. And then I was listening also to a podcast of Cryon many years ago, and he was talking about, so Dr. Charles Krebs calls his sequence, it's about finding the capillary pulse and balancing those 2 capillary pulses. Now, he's got 3 doctorates, and one of them is in human biology. He's an incredibly intelligent man and very academic, and applies his science process to everything that he puts together with his kinesiology. So if he's calling it a capillary pulse, I didn't feel like I was in a position to say it makes sense to me. And it doesn't have to make sense to me. The stuff works, and I loved it. And so anyway, I was listening to Cryon a number of years after learning this procedure. And he was talking about the importance of connecting to the earth pulse. And the more he spoke about it, the more the light was going on. It's not a capillary pulse we're connecting to, because you do feel grounded after this procedure. And it is all just a sequence of 2 holds here, go all over the body. But if that was all I did in a kinesiology session, you would leave feeling better. But of course, it's only an absolute minor part of what I do. But that feeling of being centered and grounded and connected can make such a difference for helping you make decisions, help you read with clarity and comprehend with clarity, be feeling calmer in yourself. And what I find really interesting is the brain gym exercises, which is another type of kinesiology, which I've studied some parts of, but I can't call myself a brain gym therapist, completely links in with what you do with your yoga, Sarah. Like the exercises are so aligned.
Yes, and a lot of it is ancient knowledge. And it's like, that's why I thought I'd put these glasses on, because as a reminder that we've got to lighten up and not get too caught up in, where's the research? Nothing's going to happen to you if you take your shoes off and go on the grass. What's the worst that can happen? You just watch where you're walking and make sure you're not treading on anything sharp. But it's like we do get carried away in this modern day and age of, I don't know, is this safe? It's like lighten up and just start getting back to these ancient practices that have been around for so long, and we know that they work. It's like getting onto the earth, but also if you can't get outside, we have this amazing capacity to visualize. So you could be inside, and yoga uses a lot of nature terms. For example, Tadasana, the mountain pose. So you could really put yourself into quite a deep meditative state. Standing, if you get up, step away from your desk and stand, take your shoes off, even though you're not earthing and grounding, but just to have the feel of your bare feet. And then imagine that you are standing near your favorite mountain. And most people can get a visual image of a mountain that they've been to and visited and have some memory of what it felt like to be in that space. And then just spend a few moments centering and grounding and breathing into your heart and down into the ground, and then breathe in. Imagine you're in that space. So you sort of see it in your mind's eye, you smell the air, you feel it on your skin, you hear the sounds around you, and then you just start that simple breathing. Bring the earth up into your heart. Breathe out all the to-do lists and all the stuff that we accumulate that isn't part of who we are. It's like we gather it like baggage, and then it hangs around like a bad smell and just pulls us down, doesn't it? So,
well, I also like that it was only last term that you really brought it to light. But if you've got some worries that you're bringing to your class, hang it on the tree before you come into the class.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, there is tree.
The trouble tree.
Yeah. And the thing is, I like that you brought in the visualization, but also if you're living in, say, Perth, capital, and you're working in the capital city, we've got trees in the main street. You can ground just by holding the trunk. You don't have to hug it. You don't have, if you're a bit worried about being accused of being a tree hugger, you don't have to do that. You can just hold on to
Put a hand on it. Put your palm on it. Or
lean up against on it. Yeah. Because that tree is going to help do the grounding for you. But and also
just put your back to it, lean in it, like you say, lean into it. Yeah, yeah. All of that, and even in the Drew yoga that I teach, we have a beautiful sequence called the Earth sequence. So you start moving and stretching while you're visualizing your feet are on the earth. Great if you can do it outside because the benefits are so magnified. But if you can't, then you use the power of that and you put yourself in that place. And it's like a little mini earthing break. And you've got those benefits straight away. It's like, use these things. They're not hard. They're quite easy. But we often get too busy, and then, like you said, our brain, we cycle in these sort of narrow mind. Oops, mine fell off. Oh, well, just as well you've got yours on. We get in those cycles, and then it's like we get too long in front of the screen before we take a break. And it's like almost use technology to your advantage. So use your mobile phone to have an alarm that goes off on the hour. And when you hear that particular sound that you've assigned to it, it's your cue to get up and to move, to stretch. It doesn't have to take long. 2 minutes will make a difference. Imagine if you did that every hour while you're at work or while you're focused on a job. It would really help you in so many ways and help to keep the nervous system balanced. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's just getting that balance back into the nervous system and some inner space back.
And because so many people are wearing the smartwatches these days, so even if you're not really meant to be looking at your phone during your work, or when I was working at the hospital, you certainly wouldn't, you're too busy to be worried about your phone, but your wrist could vibrate because it's like time to go outside and get a breath of fresh air, get out from underneath those fluoro lights.
Yes.
And all the things that are at you when you're at work, which is part of the job that you've opted to do, but still it's your health.
There's a whole technology around earthing. Like you can get, if you start looking into it, just Google and have a look. You can get earthing mats, you can get earthing shoes, you can get earthing sheets, you can get earthing desk pads, you can get earthing pet beds. The list is endless, and all these things do help.
Even something like the orgonite.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Which can kind of bring in, well, it certainly drops the geopathic stress around you, which has to then help with the grounding impact.
Do you want to explain, Karen, like why they work, how they work?
So orgonite was what it is, that they come in all sorts of different colours and some shapes. I've got some dome shaped ones there that we use for, I'll just go and grab one. Because we use this in meditation. So you're just holding it in the palm, and that happens to have a sacred symbol in there.
Yep.
But also it's got metal and it's got crystals, and it's just using resin. And as the resin contracts and gets hard, it applies pressure to the crystals. And as much as people might go, crystals, they carry an energy. For a start, the computer we're using to do this talk wouldn't work. Your watch won't work without a crystal. Phone probably has a crystal in it. They carry an energy, and we are crystalline. We know that. The science has proven that. So the crystals in the organite, they can carry different charges. So this particular one is clear quartz crystal, and that's a real global crystal. Like that's actually more than likely what's in the electronic machinery. I've got copper and I've got metal shavings in there. And so they help deflect the energies. They're really good thing to have next to you when
this
you're...
one I think got shungite.
Yeah. So very protective. Yeah. And so very good to have next to technology, next to your modem.
Next to your computer. I've just got it next to the computer.
Yeah.
And the other thing is...
Sorry.
I was going to say the other thing is to remember, and something we'll talk more and more about, is not underestimating the power that you have yourself, because we've been very dumbed down and led to believe that, you know, we don't have much capacity to make much difference ourselves. But just by having something like this in front of your computer, and then just sort of making that intention that you are pushing that electromagnetic field of your computer back away from you and clearing your space, and that you're sitting in a clear space, and you just keep setting that intention and manage it. It's like really managing your energy. Maybe we can talk about this in our next talk, is all about energy management, managing the space around you. We are powerful beings, and our intentions carry a lot of weight.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And allowing yourself to make decisions for you. You're not handing it over to somebody else and minimizing what your capabilities are. I mean, I'm still learning mine, and yet I might preach it, but it's not an easy thing when it hasn't come
up with it.
Yeah, we haven't been taught it right from the beginning, and it's like, and that's not a judgment against my parents. They didn't know.
No,
they were taught.
But it's more than that, isn't it? It's more than, well, this gets into a bit of another topic, but it's more than just our parents. Then it's all the institutions that start to influence us once we start becoming institutionalized, when we start going to school. That's a topic for another day too. But getting back to grounding.
So this is another, that's a shungite pyramid. So that's also very helpful. And that's the one I can fit it on my laptop. So I think it's a nice little one. But yeah, so I notice when I'm doing your yoga, and Sarah, is like you bring in visualization a lot, and you were talking about it, how, you know, you visualize putting roots down through your feet. I literally, the soles of my feet tingle when you say to do that, and because I'm trying to do it, and you have us like standing on our mountain. Well, I always visualize Uluru. It is might not technically be a mountain, but it's my mountain. It's in the heart of my country, my birth country. And so anyway, I visualize I'm not only going through the rock, I'm going through wherever the rock starts under the earth. And my feet are going like that. I literally feel it.
Well, we're energetic.
It is a real earth.
Yeah, we're energetic beings. Yeah, we are energy. You know, it might appear that we are this dense form, but we're actually energetic, and the earth is energetic. And the minute we connect to the earth through bare skin contact, we are bringing our vibration to that of the earth's. It's that interaction of all those sort of neutral electrons that the earth holds that give us that negative ion experience, and we're bringing our energy back. We get unbalanced so quickly. A lot of people are so disconnected from nature, and coming back to, just if you're sitting outside in a chair, you could have your feet on the ground. You don't even have to sit on the ground. You could just, you know, put your feet on while you're sitting on a stool outside, or having your hand or any part of your body on the ground will make a difference. And the longer you can stay there,
slip your shoes off.
Yeah, slip your shoes off. Yeah, whenever you can. If you're walking on the beach, I've sort of really grates when I see someone walking on the beach with joggers on. It's like, oh, how could you be keeping those shoes on and denying yourself the experience of the sand, especially where we live, where it doesn't really get cold. We're very lucky.
But even when it is cold, like our walks, because Wednesdays and Fridays involves beach sand, water, so it can be wet. But even when we've got barefoot in the middle of winter, which, yes, by international standards or Tasmanian standards or even Victorian standards, it's not as cold, but it's still cold. It's like we could be walking in 10 degrees, so that sand we can get frost. So, but the sense of, even when it's after we've done the barefoot walk, we've done some yoga, and then we walk, and then we put our shoes back on, even that beautiful feeling of putting socks on again.
Yes,
your feet
appreciate
are cold.
it. Yes, you do, don't you? So much more. The feet just a little bit of softness now, a little bit of warmth.
Wasn't it David Wolf said we needed something like 70 or 80 minutes a day of barefoot?
Yeah, quite a bit more. Yeah, and I think it's like the longer you can stay, the better. But, anything from 20 minutes on has been sort of suggested that it will start to reduce inflammation. It will start to, perhaps for some people, reduce pain. There's a lot of benefits, especially if you have a look at the book, the Earthing book, in as far as what it has done for people. It's pretty astounding. And like you said, Karen, post-surgery healing, if you want to really, boost your healing, boost your wellness, get your feet on the earth, and preventative. So don't wait for something to need to be healed. Do it anyway.
No.
Do it. Yeah, connect to nature.
And it's free.
Yeah, let your eyes soak it in. Let your eyes, if you wear glasses, take them off when you're outside and just let your eyes breathe in that nature as well. Really important on many levels.
And that sunshine, raw sunshine on your eyes as much.
Yeah.
You don't have to look directly at the sun, but I don't think the injury to the eyes is what we've been told for looking at the sun. Like, and also and I am this way myself, I'm always prone to put sunglasses on when it is bright. But when we do our yoga, I take my glasses off.
Yeah, we're very conditioned. I know we were taught years ago, in the early days of my yoga training, on some special event we were, and they suggested that you don't look, like you say, you don't look up at the sun, because that's not going to be very pleasant for your eyes. But you could sort of put your fingers over and let the light filter in. And also you can sort of if you play with this, just let your eyes just close a little bit, and you just play with letting the sunlight come through your eyelashes. That's pretty interesting to do, because that's why we have these things like eyelashes, to help protect us from the sunlight and things getting in our eyes. So it's like, just play with that, just let the light filter through, and then you could just, in that process, just look through your eyelashes and you'll see all the colors of them. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We are amazing beings.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, so we know that it's really important to earth and ground.
Yeah. I'll put the link below for the earthing. There was another link I was going to put in that came up while you were talking, Karen. What was it? Anyway, have a look below. And if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our channel, because we're passionate about bringing simple wellness ideas to you and empowering you to take charge of your own wellness.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and that's kind of what our wellness agents, that's what our dedication is, to empowering people to take that responsibility for their own health and to reconnect with nature. But we want you to have fun while you're doing it.
Yes.
And be creative.
Yes.
And just know that we're thriving in a changing world, and there is always more to learn.
I'll leave it there.
Thanks,
and
Sarah.
We will see you in a month. Bye.
Okay.
This
Bye.
content is created for informational purposes only. Always seek the guidance of a qualified health professional with any questions you may have regarding your personal health.